us pray. We, thine unworthy servants who gathered together in thy name, do humbly beseech thee to send down thy heavenly wisdom from above, to direct and guide us in all our considerations. Amen. Introduction of visitors. As a follow-up to my trip to China in December, wherein Alberta signed a memorandum of understanding to supply special waste technology to the province of Liaoning, I am pleased to introduce today some very special visitors. This group of senior officials from the People's Republic of China will be touring Alberta's integrated waste management facility at Swan Hills, the Alberta Environmental Center at Vegreville, and meeting with Alberta business leaders. I would ask our visitors to rise as I call their names, but for members to hold their greeting until all have been introduced. Leading the mission is the administrator of the National Environmental Protection Agency for the People's Republic, and the equivalent of our national minister. I would like to introduce Mr. Chu Gerping. And with him are Mr. Wang Jie from the Foreign Affairs Office of the agency, Mr. Li Guaye from the Jiangsu Environmental Project Office, Mr. Liu Weibang, the Deputy Director of the Liaoning Provincial Environmental Protection Bureau, Mr. Gao Shengzheng, Deputy Director of the Shenyang Municipal Urban Construction Management Bureau, and Mr. Gen Haigang, Director of the Office of Environmental Protection for the Guangzhou Municipal Government. I would ask all members of the House to give these gentlemen our traditional warm welcome.
Presenting petitions.
Edmonton Jasper, please.
I would like to present a petition signed by 167 school teachers from 11 different
Schools within the constituency of Edmonton Jasper Place, urging the Legislative Assembly to accord favorable consideration
to a certain resolution passed at an emergent Representative Assembly of the Alberta Teachers Association, September 28, 1991.
Member for Edmonton Glengarry. I wish to file with the legislature a petition signed by a number of teachers from the St. Anne's School in the constituency of Edmonton Glengarry. The petition deals with the request that the government solve the teachers' pension problem. Number 4, Edmonton Glengarry. They believe to present a petition to the Assembly from the parents and friends of lesbians and gays. This petition respectfully requests the Legislative Assembly to urge the government to protect lesbians and gays from discrimination by others who are ignorant of the fact that homosexual orientation is not a disease or a threat to society or any individual. Senator Calder. Mr. Speaker, I wish to present a petition signed by 199 teachers from various schools in Edmonton Calder in support of Resolution 226-91. I'd like to introduce a petition signed by 26 teachers in the Vegreville constituency urging the legislature to give favorable consideration to Resolution 226-91. Edmonton Highlands. It's my pleasure to present a petition signed by 105 teachers in 6 schools in the riding of Edmonton Highlands requesting fair treatment for their pensions as sponsored in the Alberta Teachers Association motion number 22691.
Edmonton Norwood, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to present a petition with 30 names from Norwood and Parkdale schools in the constituency of Edmonton Norwood calling for a resolution of the teachers' pension problem.
I'd like to file a petition
signed by 44 Albertans who teach at Stanley Jones and St. Alphonsus schools in Calgary Mountain View constituency, seeking action on the teacher's retirement fund. Calgary Forest Lawn. I'd like to present a petition signed by 156 teachers from 5 different schools in the constituency of Calgary Forest Lawn in support of Alberta Teacher Association Resolution 22691. The petition that I have to table today is signed by 202 teachers from 8 schools in the constituency of Edmonton Belmont, and they ask that the Legislative Assembly deal with the matter of teacher pensions as outlined in Resolution 226-91. Edmonton Belmont. Speaker, I'd like to file a petition signed by 204 teachers representing the schools in Edmonton Belmont constituency. These teachers are requesting a favorable consideration following the resolution of regarding the teacher's pension. Speaker, I would like to present a petition signed by 230 teachers from 10 schools in the constituency of Edmonton-Avonmore, a petition in which they ask that the government deal with the teacher's pension difficulties in accord with Resolution 22691. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to present to the Assembly a petition from 70 teachers in 2 schools in Edmonton, Strathcona, dealing with the same matter. Speaker, I'd like to present petitions from 230 teachers in schools in the constituency of Edmonton, North, asking for support of the Alberta Teachers Association Resolution 22691 regarding the Teachers Retirement Fund. And these petitions come from Daily Grove School, Dakota School, Crawford Plains School, Ellerslie Junior High, Greenview School, Satu School, St. Richard's School, Mary Hanley School, St. Clement, and John Paul I School. Edmonton Kingsway. Mr. Speaker, I rise to table a petition from 99 teachers from 7 schools in my riding. It is in regard to the Teachers Retirement Fund, and the teachers are asking that it be settled along the lines of Resolution 226/91, passed at the Teachers' Convention in September 28, 1991.
West Yellowhead.
Speaker, I wish to table a petition from 170 teachers in the riding of West Yellowhead to deal with Resolution 226/91 from 9 schools. These teachers reside in the constituency of West Yellowhead and in the Whitecourt riding.
Edmonton Centre.
I'm pleased to present to the Assembly a petition signed by 220 teachers from 6 schools in Edmonton Centre, urging the government to take action on the Teachers Retirement Fund.
Reading and receiving petitions. Presenting reports by standing and special committees. Member Cardston.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 52, I hereby would like to present photocopies of the 1991-92 report of the Standing Committee on the Alberta Heritage Savings Trust Fund Act. Copies are presently being printed and will be available to members shortly.
Motions. Member for Edmonton Highlands.
Mr. Speaker, it's my intention to move an amendment to motion number 2 today in the Assembly. This motion deals with the interim supply. My amendment will call for interim supply to be available to the Committee of Supply until March 31st, 1992. The purpose of this motion is basically to prevent the closure motion that is embodied in Government Motion number 3, and I'll distribute copies.
Mr. Speaker, I rise under Standing Order 40 to give notice that at the end of question period I will seek unanimous consent of the House and concurrence of this Assembly to congratulate the Edmonton Chimos women's hockey team for winning their 3rd national championship in 11 years. Nita, I have a copy.
Okay, River.
To ask the House, I'd like to give notice to the House that after question period, I would like to ask the House
to give unanimous consent to recognizing the Canadian mixed curling champions from Alberta who won the championship on Saturday, this past Saturday. Now to ask unanimous consent of the House at that time.
Introduction of bills.
We're dealing with bills, so I'll start with the government first, and then when we move on to the other bills that are there, we'll go in sequential order. Thank you. Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill 4, the Public Contribution Amendment Act 1992. The purpose of this bill will be to clarify that cities over 50,000 in population are required to designate a person or body as an approving authority for the purposes of the Act.
Number 4. Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs has moved first reading of Bill 4, Public Contributions Amendment Act 1992. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 4, Public Contributions Amendment Act 1992, introduced by the Honourable Mr. Anderson, is now read a first time.
Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs.
Further request leave to introduce Bill 5, the Residential Tenancies Amendment Act 1992. The purpose of this bill is similar to the previous one, to clarify that councils of cities with a population exceeding 50,000 are to establish by bylaw landlord and tenant advisory boards to carry out functions under the Act.
The Honourable Minister of Consumer and Corporate Affairs has moved for first reading Bill number 5. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 5, Landlord and Tenant Amendment Act 1992, introduced by the Honourable Mr. Anderson, is now read a first time.
Member for Highwood.
Speaker, I request leave to introduce a bill number 2, being Historical Resources Amendment Act 1992. This bill provides for the consolidation of the operations of the Historic Sites Board into the Alberta Historic Resources Foundation. It's a move to increase efficiency and reduce expenses.
The Honourable Member for Highwood has moved first reading to Bill number 2, Historical Resources Amendment Act 1992. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 2, Historical Resources Amendment Act 1992, introduced by the Honourable Member Mr. Tanis, is now read a first time.
Thank you, Government House Leader, followed by the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Bill number 2, Historical Resources Amendment Act 1992, be placed on the order paper under Government Bills and Orders.
Having heard the motion, those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried. Leader of the Official Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 201, a Real Freedom of Information and Personal Privacy Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill was first introduced by Grant Notley in 1975, and since then has been updated, reintroduced on numerous occasions by the official opposition. It calls upon the government to provide Albertans with access to information under control of the government and to protect the privacy of Albertans with respect to private information held by the government.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition has moved for first reading Bill 201, Freedom of Information and Personal Privacy Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. So ordered.
Bill number 201, Freedom of Information and Personal Privacy Act, introduced by the Honourable Member Mr. Martin, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Glengarry.
Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill number 202, the bill entitled Freedom of Information and Protection of Personal Privacy Act. Might be entitled Play It Again, Sam.
Mr. Speaker, the bill is intended to provide for information from government and all agencies of government right down the line, and to ensure where there are withholdings that a procedure be put into place to resolve if those withholding or that withholding of information should persist.
Photocopy signatures by Harper Kraus.
The honourable member for Edmonton Glengarry has moved first reading to Bill 202, Freedom of Information and Protection of Personal Privacy Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 202, Freedom of Information and Protection of Personal Privacy Act, introduced by honourable member Mr. Decor, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Meadowlark. Sorry, honourable member. We had said we would introduce the bills in order of their number system. Thank you, honourable member.
Introduce three at once and then...
No? Edmonton Meadowlark, please.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill number 203, entitled the Environmental Ombudsman Act. This bill will widen the powers of the Ombudsman to enable him to investigate the effectiveness of environmental planning carried out by public authorities and the impact that actions by other bodies have on the environment.
The honourable member for Edmonton Meadowlark has moved first reading of Bill 203, Environmental Ombudsman Act. Those members in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 203, Environmental Ombudsman Act, introduced by honourable member Mr. Mitchell, is now read a first time.
Member for Lacombe.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill 204, Dangerous Dog Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill would provide additional protection for the public from dangerous dogs.
The honourable member for Lacombe has moved first reading of Bill 204, Dangerous Dogs Amendment Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 204, Dangerous Dogs Amendment Act, introduced by honourable member Mr. Moore, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Glengarry.
Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 205, an act to require full disclosure and maintenance of government-backed pension plans. This act would require the government to take full responsibility for the unfunded pension liability of all plans, including the Teachers' Retirement Fund, and would also require full disclosure of any and all actuarial studies performed and that relate to these pension funds.
The honourable member for Edmonton Glengarry has moved first reading to Bill 205, an act to require full disclosure and maintenance of government-backed pension plans. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 205, an act to require full disclosure and maintenance of government-backed pension plans, introduced by the honourable member Mr. Decor, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Gold Bar.
I beg leave to introduce Bill 206, the Children's Rights Bill. This legislation would ensure that the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child is encompassed in our provincial statutes.
The honourable member for Edmonton Gold Bar has moved first reading to Bill 206, Children's Rights Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 206, Children's Rights Act, introduced by the honourable member Mrs. Hughes, is now read a first time.
Member for Ponoka.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the member for Drumheller, I request leave to introduce Bill 207, the Tobacco Control Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to ensure that tobacco products will not be sold to individuals under 18 years of age, and is designed to increase the penalty for those found guilty of selling tobacco products under such circumstances.
The honourable member for Ponoka, on behalf of the member for Drumheller, begs leave to introduce Bill number 207 for first reading, the Tobacco Control Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 207, Tobacco Control Act, introduced by the honourable member, Mr. Johnson, is now read a first time.
Westlock Sturgeon.
Speaker, I beg leave. I'll take the pledge too, Mr. Speaker. To introduce the Aboriginal Justice Act number 208. This bill will establish a native justice system, Mr. Speaker, for Indian and Métis peoples, which will operate parallel to the traditional justice system for minor offenses by setting up Native Justice Division of the government to which Native justice cases can be referred, providing for the recruitment and training Aboriginal people to work in the justice system, and improving facilities available to released offenders.
The honourable member for Westlock Sturgeon has moved first reading of Bill 208, Aboriginal Justice Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 208, Aboriginal Justice Act, introduced by the honourable member, Mr. Taylor, is now read a first time.
Karimbi.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce a bill being Bill 209, the Hospitals Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill proposes expanding the number of public members that may be appointed to boards of hospital foundations.
The honourable member for Ponoka Rimby has moved first reading of Bill 209, Hospitals Amendment Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. So ordered.
Bill number 209, Hospitals Amendment Act, introduced by the honourable member, Mr. Johnson, is now read a first time.
Calgary McCall.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to introduce a bill, Bill 210, an act to create a commission to examine the legal reform in Alberta's justice system, which many citizens require today, so it avails itself properly to all of our citizens for justice.
The honourable member for Calgary McCall has moved first reading to Bill 210, an act to create a commission to examine legal reform in Alberta's justice system. Those members in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 210, an act to create a commission to examine legal reform in Alberta's justice system, introduced by the honourable member, Mr. Nelson, is now read a first time.
Westlock Sturgeon.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to present Bill number 211, the Alberta Farm Security Act. This bill will establish the Farmland Security Board with power to review farm debt and make recommendations about restructuring debt, or if the farm is foreclosed, to provide for leaseback with an option to purchase.
The honourable member for Westlock Sturgeon has moved first reading of Bill 211, Alberta Farm Security Act. Those in favour of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. So ordered.
Bill number 211, Alberta Farm Security Act, introduced by the honourable member, Mr. Taylor, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Jasper Place.
Speaker, I request leave to introduce a bill being 212, the Endangered Species and Endangered Spaces Act. This bill provides a framework for cooperation among government agencies, private developers, and landowners for the protection of endangered species and the spaces they occupy in Alberta. The bill recognizes the crazy quilt of parks and zoning and various land use designations is inadequate. The mandate is an effective process objectively triggered by population numbers rather than politics, but you'll be happy to know that the Tories are not on the list yet.
The honourable member for Edmonton Jasper Place has moved first reading of Bill 212, Endangered Species and Endangered Spaces Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 212, Endangered Species and Endangered Spaces Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. McInnes, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Belmont.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request leave to introduce Bill 213. Mr. Speaker, this bill, when passed, would prevent an employer from using the 25-hour lockout to then unilaterally change the terms of a collective agreement between itself and the employees in the bargaining unit.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Belmont has moved first reading of Bill 213, an act to amend the Labour Relations Code. Those members in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 213, an act to amend the Labour Relations Code, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Sigurdsson, is now read a first time.
Calgary McKnight.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill 215, an act to amend the Ombudsman Act. The purpose of this bill is to protect whistleblowers from any offences under the Act.
The Honourable Member for Calgary McKnight has moved first reading of Bill 215, Ombudsman Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 215, Ombudsman Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mrs. Gagnon, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Meadowlark. Edmonton Meadowlark.
Oh, thanks. Good. I was just writing to mention that we neglected 214. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bill, I beg leave to introduce Bill number 214, the Municipal Taxation Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill will ensure that a person who has contaminated his property or her property in some way cannot obtain a reduction in his or her tax assessment on that land because of the fall in value of that property which these actions have caused.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Meadowlark has moved first reading of Bill 214, Municipal Taxation Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 214, Municipal Taxation Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Mitchell, is now read a first time.
Dan Cochrane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request leave to introduce Bill 216, the Children's Access Rights Enforcement Act. The purpose of this bill is to ensure that a non-custodial parent who has been granted access to his or her children by court order can approach the courts to request enforcement of that court order in a timely manner if such access rights are denied by the custodial parent.
The Honourable Member for Banff Cochrane has moved first reading of Bill 216, the Children's Access Rights Enforcement Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 216, Children's Access Rights Enforcement Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Evans, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Glengarry.
Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 217, an act entitled the Annual Election of the Speaker Act. The bill would provide for the yearly voting on the new speaker, the speaker.
Sure, let's put this issue to the vote. The Honourable Member for Edmonton Glengarry has moved first reading of Bill 217, Annual Election of the Speaker Act. All those in favor of the motion to introduce the bill, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. The chair will not regard it as an even vote. The motion carries.
Bill number 217, Annual Election of the Speaker Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Dufour, is now read a first time.
Red Deer North.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill number 218, which is the Vulnerable Persons Protection Act. The purpose of this bill would be to provide clear protection from any type of retaliation to every person who reports in good faith and without malicious intent the abuse or neglect of a vulnerable person receiving care or services in an agency or organization in the province of Alberta.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I wondered if this bill's title related to the previous bill. The Honourable Member for Red Deer North has moved first reading to Bill 218, Vulnerable Persons Protection Act. All those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 218, Vulnerable Persons Protection Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Day, is now read a first time.
Westlock Sturgeon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg leave to present Bill number 220, Native Peoples Representation Act. This bill would establish seats in the legislature for 3 MLAs, one for each of the 3 treaty areas in the province, Treaty 6, 7, and 8. Aboriginal people would have the option of voting for their treaty MLA or the MLA representing the area in which they reside.
The Honourable Member for Westlock Sturgeon has moved first reading of Bill 220, Native Peoples Representation Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 220, Native
Peoples Representation Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Taylor, is now read a first time.
Calgary Northwest.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request leave to introduce Bill number 221, that being the Government Open Contract Act. This bill requires that all government contracts valued at more than $50,000 must be filled through a tendering process, and all qualifying bids
received from the tender must be published. And it further requires that the Minister for Public Works and Supply and Services publish the guidelines for the tendering of all
contracts with the Crown.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Northwest has moved first reading to Bill 221, Government Open Contract Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no.
Carried. Bill number 221, Government Open Contract Act,
introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Brusiker, now read a first time.
Edmonton Meadowlark.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to introduce Bill number 222, the Ecological Reserves and Heritage Rivers Act. This bill would set aside and provide
full protection to keep at least 12% of this province in its natural state and require the province to join the Canadian Heritage River System.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Meadowlark has moved first reading of Bill 222, Ecological Reserves, Heritage Rivers Act.
Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 222, Ecological Reserves, Heritage Rivers Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Mitchell, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Calder.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill
223 of the Children's Rights Act. This bill has been fighting for opposition for many years and makes a strong commitment to children throughout the
province and provides principles for advocacy as well as policy and program development on behalf of children and their families to ensure all Albertans a healthy future.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Calder has moved first reading to
Bill 223 of the Children's Rights Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no.
Carried.
Bill number 223, Children's Rights Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Ms. Melsness, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Gold Bar.
Mr. Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 224.
The Non-Smokers Health Act. This bill provides for smoke-free workplaces and the provision for designated separately
Ventilated smoking areas.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Gold Bar has moved first reading of Bill 224, Non-Smokers Health Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Opposed, please say no. So ordered. Bill number 224,
Non-Smokers Health Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mrs. Hughes, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Glengarry.
Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 225, a bill entitled Waste Reduction and Recycling Act.
The bill will introduce measures to reduce the waste created in this province by
Setting up province-wide blue box schemes for the collection of recyclable materials, encourage the establishment of recycling industries, and develop a government procurement policy for goods made from recycled material.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Edmonton Glengarry has moved first reading of Bill
225, Waste Reduction and Recycling Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 225, Waste Reduction and Recycling Act,
introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Decor, is now read the first time. Federal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request leave to introduce Bill 226, the Ethanol Act. This act, if passed, would require all retailers of gasoline to make available gasoline blended at least 10% with domestically produced ethanol, and would further require all gasoline-powered vehicles owned and or operated by the provincial government or agencies or departments of the provincial government to burn that gasoline blended at least 10% with domestically produced ethanol.
Right on.
The Honourable Member for Vegreville has moved first reading of Bill 226, the Ethanol Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 226, Ethanol Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Mr. Fox, is now read the first time.
157. Edmonton Avonmore.
To introduce Bill 228, Individual Rights Protection Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill would expand prohibitive
Grounds of discrimination to include sexual orientation, source and level of income, marital status, and political belief,
and will allow the assessment of penalties for certain violations of the Act. The bill also makes the Human Rights Commission responsible to a committee of the Legislative Assembly and allows the Commission to initiate investigations.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Avonmore has moved first reading of Bill 228.
Individual Rights Protection Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 228,
Individual Rights Protection Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member, Ms. Lang, is now read the first time. Edmonton Centre.
231.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for first reading Bill 231, the Energy Efficiency Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill provides for the control of the
sale, lease, as well as the label and test inspection of certain appliances and products to ensure that they meet high standards
of energy efficiency and environmental safety.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Centre has moved first reading to Bill 231, Energy Efficiency Act. Those members in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye.
Opposed, please say no. So ordered. Bill number 231, Energy Efficiency Act,
introduced by the Honourable Member, Reverend Mr. Roberts, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Jasper Place.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request leave to introduce Bill
232, the Community Forests Act.
This is a comprehensive rewrite of Alberta's forestry legislation. It contains principles of sound forest management and the principle of democratic control over
Forest allocation through community boards. Responds to Albertans' concerns expressed in the Danzig Report hearings in 1989 and over 50 meetings involving the member for Edmonton Jasper Place and interested Albertans.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton
Jasper Place has moved first reading of Bill 232, Community Forests Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 232,
Community Forest Act, introduced by Honorable Member Mr. McInnes, is now read a first time.
Member for Lacombe.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill number 233, Daylight Saving Time Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this act would make daylight saving year-round instead of changing back and forth.
The Honorable Member for Lacombe has moved first reading of Bill 233, Daylight Saving
Time Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 233,
Daylight Saving Time Amendment Act, introduced by Honorable Member Mr. Moore, is now read a first time. Calvin McCall.
Speaker, I beg leave to introduce Bill 234, Legal Profession Amendment Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill will ensure that the courts allow
paralegals under certain circumstances to represent persons charged with various offenses. Presently, some courts allow only members of the bar to represent
charged citizens. It is time to reform these courts to ensure justice for all our citizens in these courts.
The Honourable Member for Calgary McCall has moved first reading to Bill 234.
Legal Profession Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 234, Legal Profession Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member Mr. Nelson, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Caldwell.
Mr. Speaker, I request leave to introduce Bill 236, Quality Child Daycare Staff Training Standards Act. This bill would ensure
high quality of care for children utilizing daycare in Alberta by requiring training standards that go beyond that of this government, as well as establishes a provincial directory to provide information to parents on licensed daycare centers.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Calgary has moved first reading to Bill 236, Quality Child Daycare Training
and Standards Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 236,
Quality Child Daycare Training and Standards Act, introduced by Honourable Member Ms. Malvin, is now read a first time.
Edmonton Highlands.
Mr. Speaker, it gives me pleasure to introduce to the Assembly Bill number 237, Community Health Center Act. If adopted, Mr. Speaker, this bill would enable community health centers to offer a variety of frontline healthcare services by paid staff and a variety of occupations would save the taxpayers a lot of money and also promote community health and preventive health. And Mr. Speaker, nothing I'd like better than to see this appear tomorrow under government bills and orders. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Highlands has moved first reading Bill
237. Those members in favor of first reading, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 237,
Community Health Center Act, introduced by Honourable Member Ms. Barrett, is now read a first time. Members for Drummond, Colors, it's your wish to proceed with Bill 240 today?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to introduce Bill 240, the Marketing of Agricultural Products Amendment Act.
This bill would amend the act in relation to the checkoff on
money products sold.
The Honourable Member for Drumheller has moved first reading to Bill number 240, Marketing of Agricultural
Products Amendment Act. Those in favor of first reading, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Carried.
Bill number 240, Marketing of Agricultural Products Amendment Act, introduced by the Honourable Member Mr. Schumacher, is now read a first time.
Calgary Mountain View, 264. Not today. Thank you. Calgary McCall, 277. Not on this day. Thank you. Thank you, honourable members, for your patience.
Tabling returns and reports.
Minister of Economic Development and Trade.
Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure today, sir, to file some 23 reports with the Legislative Assembly, beginning with the first one being the Alberta LPG business environment. This report presents an analysis of the propane, butane, and condensate availability in Alberta. The second report being the Alberta ethane business environment. This report presents an analysis of ethane availability in Alberta. The third being the benzene availability study. The study provides an assessment of the potential supply of benzene from the refining industry in Alberta. The fourth being the composite board mill economic feasibility study. The fifth being a survey of Alberta resources and capabilities for the preparation of computer-based education training materials, which is a study of the Alberta courseware production industry and its capabilities. The sixth being ready to assemble or RTA furniture manufactured in the U.S. This is a study which identifies RTA opportunities for forest products produced in Alberta. The seventh is the use of wood products in residential repair and remodeling projects. This study indicates trends in the provincial residential repair and remodeling industries. The eighth is the City of St. Albert Business Incubator Feasibility Study. These studies conducted on a cost-share basis between the community and our incubator support program analyze the feasibility of business incubators. The ninth being the Red Deer Small Business Incubator Feasibility Study, which was similar to the one dealing with St. Albert. The 10th is the business plan for business ideas and the development center at Olds College. The 11th is a feasibility study for an incubator project amongst various communities similar to the one for St. Albert and the Red Deer communities. The 12th, Mr. Speaker, is a study of barriers faced by Alberta women in business, which fully researches the real and perceived barriers facing women in business relative to those of men in business in Alberta, and it identifies any significant barriers which are unique to women. The 13th is a forest industry supplier development study. The study identifies opportunities for manufacturers, sales, and service firms to supply the operating forest industry. The 14th is Europe 1992, Opportunities and Strategies for Alberta Business, which provides an assessment of the implications of Europe 1992 on Alberta businesses, focusing on key sectors in the development of marketing strategies for Alberta business in response to Europe 1992. The 15th, Mr. Speaker, is a review of the status and competitiveness of the Alberta motor carrier industry. This study provides details of the financial health of the industry and its ability to respond to the present and future needs of Alberta shippers. The 16th is a report on tanker safety and marine spills. 17th is Alberta International Trade Review, which gives a review of the import and export statistics for the province of Alberta. The 18th is an industry and resources study, which provides a comprehensive study of Alberta and its people with an emphasis on our economic base. The 19th is an Alberta profile, which is an overview of the province. The 20th is a profile and performance of the Alberta manufacturing sector. The 21st is a business services study, which highlights the role and the importance of the Alberta business community in the Alberta economy. The 22nd is the Bull Quarter Rock Industry Study, which highlights the outstanding contribution this industry makes to the Alberta economy. The 23rd, Mr. Speaker, is the Alberta Business Outlook, which highlights the inputs that we have received from major financial institutions, which underscores the strength of the Alberta economy. It's a delight to table these 23 reports, Mr. Speaker, which illustrates again the openness in which this government conducts its business. Minister of Forestry, Lands and Wildlife.
Pleased to table with the Assembly the report of proceedings of the 82nd Annual General Meeting of the Alberta Land Surveyors Association.
Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to table response to motion number 341, which is outstanding in the third session of the 22nd Legislature.
Of the document Partners in Health, our response as a government
to the Community Commission on Future Healthcare for Alberta, a copy of which has been previously distributed to all members.
Honorable members, I table with the Assembly the 14th Annual Report of the Chief Electoral Officer.
Submitted to the Speaker under the provisions of the Election Finances and Contributions Disclosure Act.
And further, I table the Assembly under Section 19, subsection 5 of the Legislative Assembly Act, orders of the Special Select Committee on Member Services. Introduction of Speaker. Ministerial statements. Oral question period. Any opposition? Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to direct my first question to the Minister of Energy. Mr. Speaker, in the speech from the throne, this government talked a lot about freedom of information. But this weekend, Mr. Speaker, we found out that secret talks have been held between the Minister of Energy, at least, and Atomic Energy of Canada Limited over the possibility of building a CANDU nuclear reactor here in the province of Alberta. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker,
feasibility studies are underway by Aelstra about using nuclear power to aid in bitumen extraction.
Mr. Speaker, all this without the previous knowledge of Albertans. My question to the Minister of Energy is simply this. Will the Minister of Energy update us completely and tell the people of Alberta the status of these secret negotiations?
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is being silly.
I had a call from the Senator of the Government of Canada asking for a half-hour meeting to bring forward a concept on atomic energy in Canada and the possibility of locating in Alberta. I pointed out to him, Mr. Speaker, that my priority
as Minister of Energy in this province was to the coal industry, which has 200 years of supply, natural
gas, we have 50 years of supply. We have hundreds of years of oil sands development in this province, and we have tremendous hydroelectric capacity. I told him that was my priorities, Mr. Speaker, and if he wanted to make his case to Albertans, he was free to do that. We're not the mine police here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I notice the minister, when he gets real upset, he must be taking speech lessons when he gets in the cellar from the premier, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, the minister can say all he wants. The reality, though, maybe that's the case. I don't know how many other people they've talked to, but the reality is, as I mentioned, the Aelstra, largely funded by public money, has been having feasibility studies on this whole matter, Mr. Speaker. That's the reality, whether the minister wants to talk about being silly or not. My question to the Minister of Energy, then, will the Minister of Energy now make public all studies and correspondence relating to developing a nuclear energy industry in Alberta? Mr. Speaker, I'd be glad to. There are none. Mr. Speaker, let me speak to the point that he raised about Aelstra. Aelstra's responsibility is to deliver ideas and concepts as to how we can extract oil at the lowest possible price from oil sands. One of the concepts is low-pressure steam. Low-pressure steam comes from nuclear energy. One of the parameters that was brought forward that says the lowest cost delivery of oil sands, extracting oil sands, bitumen from oil sands, Mr. Speaker, is a nuclear option. It is not being explored. It is a particular concept that delivers a low cost. There are no secret meetings, Mr. Speaker. If I'd have known the honourable member was interested in nuclear, I'd have invited him to the meeting. Now that I know the next meeting I have, I undertake to bring him on. He asked about the studies. And the minister didn't say he would table it in the House, and that's what I asked him about, Mr. Speaker. I tabled it in the House. But my question then, Mr. Speaker, will go to the Premier, simply this.
Because of the controversy,
Mr. Speaker, and because we've had experience in this government before, where they had secret meetings with certain companies about chlorine bleached craft. Mr. Speaker, all of a sudden later on it's government policy. So my question simply to the Premier is this. Given that Albertans have reason to be suspicious of a government that has conducted secret negotiations in the past, will the Premier now assure Albertans that his government will not proceed now or in the future with the development of a nuclear energy industry in this province, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, there's no controversy at all. And I'm surprised the honourable Leader of the Opposition has taken that point of view. I heard the Minister of Energy just invite him to meetings and tell him all the facts about the whole matter.
I guess, Mr. Speaker, by the non-answer, we know that they're looking at, Mr. Speaker. He had a chance to give it.
Mr. Speaker, but my second set of questions is to the, also to the Premier. He's having a little trouble with his cabinet lately, Mr. Speaker. We now have the spectacle of members of the Crown in Alberta issuing threats to groups that do not adhere to the government line, Mr. Speaker. The Ukrainian and Canadian Congress has said publicly that the Minister of Culture and Multiculturalism is losing all trust and support from the multicultural community. Mr. Speaker, I want to table in the House a copy of the news release that was issued by the Congress showing that the Minister of Culture has absolutely no credibility with this group, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, as a result of this press release, the members of the Congress were subject to bully boy tactics from this minister, Mr. Speaker, where the Minister of Culture threatened to cut funds for Ukrainian centennial celebrations. My question to the Premier is simply this. Mr. Speaker, the Premier says that he judges his ministers by performance. How does he judge this performance by this Minister of Culture? Mr. Speaker, thank the Leader of the Opposition for his question. The Minister of Culture and Multiculturalism is right here in the House, and let's have him perform. Mr. Speaker, I welcome the opportunity to set the matter straight. What the Leader of the Opposition has just described is, in fact, a fantasy of the greatest proportions. I at no time threatened to withdraw any funds from any group, anywhere in the province, period, full stop, underlined, underscored, bold. Speaker, isn't that interesting? There were 5 witnesses that sat around and heard the minister do it, Mr. Speaker. 5 witnesses. Now I say back to the Premier, who's responsible for these people, Mr. Speaker, and simply this. When the minister does something like this, and there's witnesses there, Mr. Speaker, to indicate it, isn't that the message that you're sending out, that you have to follow the government line, or that we'll cut off funding? What kind of a message is that, Mr. Speaker? That's right. Mr. Speaker, the minister just dealt with the matter. I'm sure the Leader of the Opposition is listening to the answer. Don't be too short, Speaker. Let's go. Sure. Back to the Premier, Mr. Speaker. I think his problem is he's got too many cabinet ministers. A lot of MLAs in the cabinet that shouldn't be there, Mr. Speaker. And I want to help the Premier out because he needs it, Mr. Speaker. And I'll suggest that my question to the Premier is simply this. Would the Premier now be prepared to cut his cabinet by 8 members, and in the process get rid of the Solicitor General, get rid of the Minister of Culture, and bring some respect back to his government, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, there's quite a significant difference between myself and the Leader of the Opposition. I have cabinet ministers. And moving on the first one, that one doesn't get relate to this supplementary. Everything going there, Leader of the Liberal Party, please. I'm for it. The Premier has said that multiculturalism should not be imposed on Canadians by law. I'd like to ask the Premier what section or sections in the Constitution he uses to point or show or prove that Canadians are having multiculturalism forced or imposed on them. Well, Mr. Speaker, without referring to the Constitution, there are occasions when we do have multiculturalism imposed by law. And, Mr. Speaker, I find that 80% of Albertans agree with me. Mr. Speaker, I know of no law that imposes
Multiculturalism on anybody. All I'm asking the Premier to do is to tell us what sections, which laws, what part of the Constitution. Give us some specifics.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm not probably not within the rules of the legislature, but I'd ask the honourable member to put his request on the order paper.
Mr. Speaker, probably because of the Premier's negativity towards multiculturalism, last Friday the Minister of Multiculturalism threatened, and I think
That's clear now from three individuals. Three individuals have indicated that the minister threatened members of the Ukrainian community. Mr. Minister of Multiculturalism, I'd like to know from you why it is that you're now saying that these five, are inventing the truth. Why is it that you're saying that? I am saying that I didn't threaten. I am saying that I didn't threaten anybody with the cutting off of funds because I didn't. Not making up anything now. Wasn't making up anything in the past. I issued no threat about any funding. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, I now that I'm on my feet, I would like to, with the indulgence of yourself and the members of the House, just read out the amount of money that is going to the Ukrainian Congress, the Alberta Provincial Council, out of the Multiculturalism Commission. There is $100,000 in partners and projects. There is $57,500 going on another. Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you. Take your place. Take your place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last fall, the Premier and Minister of Economic Development and Trade, the Minister of Energy launched a Towards 2000 Together
economic discussion paper. In the last few months, a number of people throughout the municipalities and throughout the province have made presentations on this discussion paper, and my question to the Minister of Economic Development and Trade is that these people want to know exactly what is happening with these presentations and when the government will come to some strategy or what will develop as a result of these presentations.
Mr. Speaker, as the honourable member for Calgary-Glenmore has indicated, last August the Premier launched this major economic initiative whereby we are seeking broad public input as it relates to the future directions of the province. I'll leave the honourable member with the assurance that all of the material that we do receive is going to have a very strong impact on the direction that the province takes in the future. As the honourable member is aware, there is 5 input streams into our development of this new economic thrust, with it coming together at a conference of which the Premier is chairing the latter part of May in Calgary. Then we in turn will put together the draft strategy, which we hope to release prior to the fall of this year, so that we can have one more opportunity for public input to ensure that we do come forward with a comprehensive overall policy as it relates to the future economic directions of this province, so that we can continue, as we have done in the past, in creating jobs and having one of the strongest economy in all of North America.
Well, Mr. Speaker, to the Premier, since the growth of jobs and our economic strategy is so important, will the Premier have an opportunity this week at the First Minister's meeting to bring what our constituents are saying to that table?
Well, yes, Mr. Speaker. It is a fact that the Prime Minister has called a First Minister's Conference on the economy. It starts tomorrow evening, and then we'll run the full day on Wednesday, and perhaps longer. I'm uncertain about the full duration, but we certainly consider that starting tomorrow evening and all of Wednesday. And I have been talking to other First Ministers about our initiatives in terms of Towards 2000 Together. They're very interested in it. I will continue to keep them up to date on the matter. I'm looking forward to that First Minister's meeting, not only to discuss Towards 2000, but to see if we can continue the thrusts which Alberta led at the previous First Minister's meetings on the economy. If the members recall, Mr. Speaker, we were able to urge all First Ministers to develop a new sense of economic cooperation. We all know that if you have 11 governments going in the same direction, we'll have far more impact rather than going in different directions. We urged the federal government, and they have certainly assisted in the area of lowering interest rates, in the area of maintaining a better balance of the Canadian dollar in relation to the U.S. dollar. We've urged other first ministers to make sure that the tax benefits that the federal government had in their budget will be allowed to flow through to all Canadians and not have the various provinces move into the space that the federal government has provided. All in all, Mr. Speaker, I think...
Thank you, Honourable Premier. I'm sure we'll get a report back from the conference. Thank you. Edmonton Avonmore.
Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Premier. Much attention has been focused in recent weeks on accounts of questionable conduct by Alberta's new Solicitor General. The Premier stated in the Assembly last Friday that, and I quote, "stories are not something upon which you base decisions," unquote. But these allegations are a matter of record with the RCMP and the courts. My question to the Premier.
Given the sensitive nature of the portfolio of the Solicitor General insofar as it relates to the administration of justice in Alberta, would the Premier tell the Assembly if he was aware of the allegations against the Solicitor General prior to appointing him? Mr. Speaker, we dealt with these matters on Friday. Well, Mr. Speaker, perhaps I could take another tack. Mr. Speaker, sound business practice dictates that before hiring a person for a position, that relevant qualifications and past performance are evaluated as a way of ensuring success in the new position. Given that the government, and the Premier in particular, conducts business on behalf of the people of Alberta, how does the Premier justify ignoring sound business practice in making this appointment, and does he not believe that Albertans have a right to know why he believes that the allegations before him should not be of concern to him and them, inasmuch as they speak to past performance?
Mr. Speaker, I welcome the question from the honourable member, but I just point out to her that we did deal with those matters, and I went some time, and I don't imagine you want me to repeat each day the things we've said already in the House with regards to how we select cabinet ministers, qualifications, and so on. So I just asked the honourable member to refer to the Hansard on Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the proposal to develop the CANDU 3 nuclear reactor in Alberta raises some serious questions. Could the Minister of the Environment tell us whether or not he supports nuclear energy development in Alberta without knowing exactly how nuclear waste byproducts can be rendered harmless? Well, Mr. Speaker, I only know about this particular project from what I've read in the newspapers, and as the Honourable Minister of Energy pointed out, he's had a half-hour discussion. This hardly constitutes a proposal. If indeed a proposal comes before this government, then I would suspect it would be the result, or it would be the subject of a full and very intensive environmental impact assessment, including public consultation and public hearings. My second supplement was to the Minister of the Environment as well, Mr. Speaker. What is the Minister of the Environment doing to convince his colleagues that a priority must be placed upon developing renewable energy technologies and energy conservation techniques to the fullest extent possible before even contemplating nuclear energy development and its inherent risks? Well, first of all, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member assumes that something is being contemplated. Nothing is being contemplated at this particular time. What we have before us is a half-hour discussion between the honourable
Minister of Energy and someone from the Atomic Energy Commission, as I understand it. With respect to the honourable member's question relative to the use of alternate forms of energy, this is this is now and always will be an ongoing discussion and a matter that will be under consideration. And as new methods of providing alternative energy are found, they will be instituted. As in fact, the honourable Minister of Energy will point out, we're proceeding quite well with wind wind-to-energy research in southern Alberta and various small water projects to...
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Smoky River.
Okay. Spring is rapidly approaching and farmers of Alberta are being asked to make some key management decisions. Though most farmers participated in the GRIP program this past year, for the benefit of those that did participate and for the benefit of those who may be considering participating in the program this year, to the Associate Minister of Agriculture, I'd like to ask, when will the index moving average price be set?
Well, Mr. Speaker, first I thank the honourable member for the question and his interest on behalf of the Alberta producers. I'm sure that the gross revenue insurance program is not far from any members' minds, but I would remind members that this is a national agreement involving the federal government and some 9 provinces. The Alberta is very comfortable that we have submitted the necessary information to the federal government that is required from Alberta's perspective to deal with this matter. And however, I would add that we don't have an indication from our federal counterparts that this information will be available until later this week. I certainly understand the producers' interest in this, and I can assure the honourable member and all producers in Alberta that we are communicating with our federal counterparts on a daily basis, urging them to get the necessary information to the Alberta Hail and Crop Insurance Corporation, which administers this program, and to Alberta producers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Associate Minister, spring, of course, is the time where the major cash flow in agriculture takes place, and need of money is there. The initial GRIP payment was made shortly after the harvest, and that was very much appreciated by the producers of Alberta. With the spring rapidly advancing, when will a second payment be made?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the commitment to a second interim statement and payment has been made to have that flow in time for spring planting. And as my latest communication with the Alberta Hail and Crop Insurance Corporation is that they will be initiating those checks and that they should be starting to flow to producers by the end of March at the latest, as we had earlier indicated.
Asper, please. Sure. Perhaps the Minister of Energy and all Albertans would like to know why Atomic Energy of Canada was thrown out of Saskatchewan on this CANDO 3 program. I'm quoting from a Pete Marwick report for the Atomic Energy Commission, October 21st, 1991. If the Saskatchewan public is prepared to accept a CANDO 3 in the province's electrical generation mix, this means at a minimum that used fuel would be stored at the reactor site. It could then be argued that developing a waste repository to ultimately dispose of used fuel generated in Saskatchewan is the responsible course of action. That's the agenda, and that's why they were tossed out. And I'd like the minister to state today, if he's saying, as I heard him earlier, that the only reason we're into this is because AOSTRA has a mandate to pursue the nuclear option, is he prepared to take the nuclear option away from AOSTRA and do it this session?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know where the NDP are coming from. I see you shaking your head too, Mr. Speaker. There is nothing under consideration with regard to nuclear reactors. I spent 30 minutes with a senator from Regina, senator for the province of Saskatchewan, who asked the courtesy of a meeting. And unlike the opposition, Mr. Speaker, I extended that courtesy, gave him every opportunity to present his views. That does not mean to say we are considering anything that relates to nuclear energy, Mr. Speaker. I was very clear with the gentleman in my office that we have priorities in this province with the energy sector we have now. It's a tough time for the energy sector in this province. We have to work hard to allow for efficiencies. We have to work hard to be able to preserve the infrastructure. And we have to work hard to expand into new markets for our natural gas sector. That's our government's priority, Mr. Speaker, first, second, and third. The issue of a nuclear reactor or CANDO 3 has nothing but passing interest as it moves across the country looking for a home.
Last time I saw backpedaling like that was the Shrine Circus, the guy on the unicycle, you know, but he was better than the minister was. Okay, we got mixed messages. The question is this. When the devil comes to dinner, you don't say no by asking him to check with the other members of family. The question is, why did you send him out to Bonnyville and University and Oster and the rest of them instead of saying no?
Right on.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member is embarrassing himself in front of this assembly.
Edmonton Beverly. Edmonton Beverly.
Thank you.
Pretty sad, Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The robbery of the Treasury branch at Lacombe last week by 3 inmates from the Belmont Correctional Center reminds Albertans a little has changed in the parole system since the escape of Daniel Shingron, and who, of course, murdered 2 innocent citizens in this province. And although I realize there is new legislation forthcoming on this particular issue, it is plain that the Solicitor General's Department has not been doing an effective job to minimize the risks imposed by dangerous offenders on parole or on day passes. My question is to the Solicitor General, Mr. Speaker. Is it a general practice to allow convicted murderers and robbers out on day pass in gangs? And if not, why was it permitted in this case?
Mr. Speaker, the federal government at the present time is reviewing the Young Offenders Act and is looking at changes coming forward. We will continue in this province, along with our police commissions and the municipalities and our police forces, to review with the Attorney General's Department the criminal justice system as it relates to this province, and ensure the people of Alberta that we'll be doing the most responsible job in that direction.
Well, in this recent case, it's particularly disturbing, Mr. Speaker, in light of the fact that the Belmont Institute is located in the heart of a residential area in Edmonton Beverly. And convicted dangerous offenders simply should not be housed in that facility, Mr. Speaker. Right. These criminals are on day pass. They pose a potential hazard, I think, to the people and children living in the area, particularly kids going to school. Will the Solicitor General commit in this Assembly today to relocate the dangerous offenders in the Belmont Correctional Center to other facilities that are better equipped in dealing with them?
Mr. Speaker, I can assure this Assembly that we are very concerned with the events that take place, such as the honourable member has brought forward, and we will continue on an ongoing basis to look at our system to ensure the safety of the public out there to the best of our ability.
Very pleased to have a response from the Alberta Healthcare Insurance that they will in fact cover the cost of removing silicone breast implants if medically required. This follows, of course, Dow Corning's announcement and offer of compensation to American women. To the Minister of Health, what action is being taken to recover the costs from Dow Corning?
Here, here.
Mr. Speaker, given the different reality of the Canadian versus the U.S. health system, I think it's a question that is a very valid one. And I have asked the staff in Alberta Healthcare, along with help from the Attorney General's Department, to look at what legal recourse that may be available to us to recover any of these costs from the manufacturer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, will the Minister assure us that she'll go after the whole cost, the actual cost of the procedure, and not just the $1,200 that's being offered?
Here, here.
Just to repeat, we will cover the full cost of all removals that are medically required. If we have an ability to go after further costs with the manufacturer, that's exactly what I'm seeking the legal route through to, and I will give her assurance that I will report to her on the results of that.
Bow Valley.
Mr. Speaker, my questions are directed at the Minister of Energy. And I have been approached by representatives from Fording Coal with respect to them putting a thermal generation unit at Kitsum in Alberta, which is in Bow Valley constituency. Could the minister tell the House today if Fording Coal has all the necessary approvals from the department to go ahead with this project?
Mr. Speaker, Fording Coal to build a electrical power generation facility in this province must follow the procedures that all other electrical power generation facilities must follow. And that is that they must first make an application to the Energy Resources Conservation Board. The Energy Resources Conservation Board will then determine the extent to which electrical power will be needed forecasting into the future. Thereafter, if the decision is made that there is a necessity for new generation capacity in the province, they then must make that recommendation to the Lieutenant Governor and Council, and then following that procedure, the Public Utilities Board will determine whether or not the costs of the plant will go into the rate base and be shared by all Albertans. That's the long answer. The short answer, Mr. Speaker, is that they have a long ways to go, and I'm not sure that there will be electrical power growth to accommodate the new facility that is being contemplated in the member's constituency. But they can go through the process, Mr. Speaker. They're welcome to do that.
Mr. Speaker, although this, as far as economic development is concerned, would be great for Bow Valley constituency, Fording Coal tells me that their forecast is that in the year 1996, this type of additional generation capacity will be necessary. What is the department's forecast on that?
Mr. Speaker, the forecast that we rely on for electrical demand in the future comes from the Energy Resources Conservation Board. They are presently considering the possibility of bringing on stream the second Genesee unit that is located west of Edmonton. In the event that the board deems the necessity for this electricity in the future for the province, then they will make that recommendation to the government. Mr. Speaker, one thing we don't want to happen is what happened with the first Genesee plant, and that is that it was constructed for job creation purposes by the City of Edmonton without getting the approvals. I wouldn't want to go through that process again, Mr. Speaker. There is a process, and we should all respect the rules.
Edmonton Calder.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the failing Alberta economy is having a drastic effect on many families in Alberta. In February, use of the Edmonton Food Bank increased 35% over last year. We know that almost half of all the food bank assistance in Alberta goes to feed hungry children, many from families who depend on social assistance for their income. My question is to the Minister of Family and Social Services. Given that social assistance rates do not meet the true cost of living, and that people are now being denied emergency food vouchers from the Department of Family and Social Services, will the Minister agree to immediately instruct his department to issue emergency food vouchers to families and children who are hungry and in need of emergency food? Right on.
We're doing that all the time.
Well, Mr. Speaker, first of all, as I've said on many occasions in this Assembly, we take no pride in seeing the need for food banks either here in Alberta or across Canada, for that matter. But I would point out a couple of things to the member opposite, Mr. Speaker. First is that usage actually isn't as high as it was in 1988. That is to say, although the numbers are up somewhat over last year, they're still not nearly as high as they were in 1988. I would also point out to the member opposite, Mr. Speaker, that here in the city of Edmonton, over 95% of our SFI recipients function without the use of food banks. In the city of Calgary, it's 98%, Mr. Speaker. I would also remind the member opposite that there were substantive increases to the food rates last year. In fact, for children, it went up by as much as 19%. Given all of that, Mr. Speaker, I can tell the member opposite that no, there's no intentions to increase the food rates any further at this time.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we have hungry children lined up at food banks, and this minister is proud because there's less children lining up than in 1988. But I would argue with his figures, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, this minister has been busy clarifying the policy when it comes to emergency food vouchers, and my question again is, will this minister make a commitment to hungry children in this province and their families that if they are in need of emergency food, that this minister will allow them to have that emergency food.
Right on.
Mr. Speaker, absolutely. There are emergency food provisions that are there, and they're available here in the city of Edmonton as they are in other parts. Further to that, if individuals are not satisfied with the response they get, they have a right to an individual appeal. But to suggest that this minister's proud, Mr. Speaker, is utter nonsense. If she wants to talk about children lined up, all she needs to do is to go to Ontario, where the usage of food banks has increased by over 300%, Mr. Speaker. That's the kind of job they're doing down there. We're not going to allow that to happen here, though, Mr. Speaker.
Calgary Northwest, order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question today is to the Government House Leader. The Joe Dutton affair, I think, clearly illustrates that patronage appointments are not the best method of selecting an individual for senior government positions. My question is, since the throne speech indicates a new openness and access to information legislation, will the government today commit to this idea of openness by submitting all order in council appointments for senior government positions to be reviewed by an all-party committee of this legislature?
Mr. Speaker, that's obviously not a matter that comes under the purview of the Government House Leader, but I would refer to the Acting Premier.
Get a second question. Mr. Premier, Mr. Speaker, the question of appointments of senior officials in part was described by the Premier last Friday when this whole question was first raised, and by the member of Career Development and Employment. But those members who are on the OC list, in fact, are normally approved through a competitive process.
Normally, but not always. That's what I'm getting at, Mr. Speaker. Well, then, will the Acting Premier then commit to new legislation this session that, first of all, lengthens the cooling-off period for ministers from 6 months to 1 year, and further extends that same cooling-off period for senior government officials like Joe Dutton and others?
Speaker, that question of policy, I'm sure the Premier would like to answer when he returns to the House. I'll advise him of that question.
Fine. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to supplement because the honourable member has left the impression that Mr. Dutton was a senior member of this government. He was not, and he had left the employ some 3.5 years prior in that position. Thank you.
Chair would also point out with respect to the first, or the main question, I'm sorting through with those 100 and some odd issues that we had the other day. I'm a little concerned that maybe we're lifting questions off the order paper, putting them into the question period, or motions for return, bringing them into question period, and that's not allowed. Lloydminster? No, that was taken off. Chair recognizes Stony Plain.
Mr. Speaker, in February of 1992, Alberta Education released a report titled A Study into the Effects of Light on Children of Elementary School Age, a Case of Daylight Robbery. The study stated that children exposed to high-pressure sodium vapor lighting in Alberta classrooms grew on an average of 2 centimeters less over a 2-year period, achieved lower on test scores, and missed more school and students exposed to proper ultraviolet lighting. This clearly shows that exposure to these lights is a health hazard to children. My question to the Minister of Education is, in view of this unrefutable evidence provided by his department, will he order and assist school boards with high-pressure sodium vapor lighting to immediately implement a program to change the lights and replace them with healthy ultraviolet emitting lights?
Mr. Speaker, school boards in their decisions to modernize and upgrade their facilities will be able to use this research that's now available to them, and we're making sure that that is in their hands so that they can make those kinds of decisions that are best made at the local level.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, the health of children is at risk here, and I would ask the minister if he is prepared then to go one step further, other than just mailing the report out, to show some honest, true leadership to help these children at risk